executing on your dream is where the real work begins, right? You can do the excitement thing. All you need to have that happen is the dopamine high of a great idea or a great conversation with your friends. You can do the exploration phase, and all you need for that is a business coach or a whiteboard and some brainstorming. But when it gets into execution, now you get into systems, you get into processes, you get into how is it that I can maximize my productivity? How is it that I can take all this dream and all of this vision and actually turn it into something? It's tough to execute on your dream. It's tough to move from vision to reality. It's tough to get out of your head and into the real world, but it's in that execution phase that you start getting it done. Hi, everybody. I want to spend a couple of moments today talking about the 6 phases of a dream. And particularly, I want to talk to you business people out there. I want to talk to you entrepreneurs, whether you're just starting out or whether you are like crushing it. Because every single one of us in the entrepreneurial journey, in the business journey, in our leadership journey, we go through 6 phases of the dream. And I'm going to say that the first phase of everybody's dream is excitement. And that's, you kind of get the dream. Maybe you're going through life and life is dull, life is boring, life is hard, and you get the excitement that comes, that dopamine hit from a dream that begins to wake you up, that begins to alight in your soul. I'll tell you, I remember when I started to dream about my future, growing up in an abused environment where I experienced a lot of poverty and a lot of hardship, but I started to dream about my future, and all of a sudden, I felt this massive level of excitement, but that excitement wasn't the thing that actually brought me to my dream, because I had to get to the next phase of my dream, and that was exploration. Now, when you think about the difference between excitement and exploring, excitement is anybody who's taken a shower. And that, what I mean by that is anybody who's gotten a great idea, who's got a great sort of concept. And oftentimes they come to me when I'm in the shower. It's like, oh, I should try this or I should try that. But a lot of those things never go from excitement to I'm now actually going to explore what this can look like. What are the costs? What are the benefits? What would the process begin to look like if I'm going to move from excitement to exploration? Now, it's at that moment between excitement and exploration that we move into that third phase. And that is now where we begin to execute. I'll tell you what, executing on your dream is where the real work begins, right? You can do the excitement thing. All you need to have that happen is the dopamine high of a great idea or a great conversation with your friends. You can do the exploration phase, and all you need for that is a business coach or a whiteboard and some brainstorming. But when it gets into execution, now you get into systems, you get into processes, you get into how is it that I can maximize my productivity? How is it that I can take all this dream and all of this vision and actually turn it into something? I'll tell you what, the local cemetery is filled with people who had the excitement of a dream, and they may have even explored it, but they never executed on it. And I'm not judging them for that. I'll tell you what, it's tough to execute on your dream. It's tough to move from vision to reality. It's tough to get out of your head and into the real world, but it's in that execution phase that you start getting it done. But you know what I quickly discovered, at least in my execution phase, was that then I started to hit some enemies. And when I mean enemies, I'm not necessarily talking about people, though they're out there too, but I'm really talking about the enemies within and the enemies on the outside that could hold me back from achieving my dream. So I want you to picture, you started with excitement, and then you went from there to exploration, and then you started executing on this vision and on this dream. But now you have to deal with your demons. And those demons could be your own self-doubt. They could be your insecurity. They could be the self-sabotage that you're experiencing. I'll tell you what, they could absolutely be your own fear, your fear of failure, maybe your fear of success, maybe the fear of the unknown, maybe the fear fear of abandonment, maybe the fear that you'll take a risk and literally you'll get egg in your face. I'll tell you, you got to deal with those enemies. And some of those enemies are like literally right here. Matter of fact, I've discovered those are the biggest giants that you got to slay, because if you can slay your mental and emotional giants, you are absolutely unstoppable. But even when you slay your own inner demons, your own mental and emotional giants, you still have to navigate some of the enemies on the outside. And that could be high levels of interest rate. That could be high levels of inflation. That could be a super challenging economy like we're into right now. In other words, there's always things in the environment that emerge for every entrepreneur that are completely unpredictable, right? I'll tell you what, Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I'll tell you, moving from vision to reality is about getting punched in the face. And the big question that comes to every one of us is not, am I going to get punched in the face? Because that's a given. In life, in business, and in entrepreneurship, that's going to happen. But the biggest question is, when you get punched in the face, what are you going to do? And so that's when you move to the fifth phase of a dream. Hard to believe we've already gotten to the fifth phase. I mean, we started with excitement, and then we went into exploration, and then we started executing on this thing. But then we ran into some enemies, both on the inside and on the outside. And if you navigate the enemy phase properly, then you move into this place that I call education. And education is the only thing I think that we need more than ever before. What do I mean when I say education? I mean going to university or taking some guy's course or program, maybe, but there's a lot of people who go through those kinds of processes and they are no smarter than they were. As a matter of fact, they're even dumber, because now they think they know what they need to know because they took some guy's course or they have letters behind their name, but they don't really have education. You know, somebody once said to me, if you could take the wisdom of an old person and give that to the energy of a young person, then you'd have an unstoppable force. You know, education is something that only comes through what I call the school of hard knocks, and we've all experienced it. Now, I have the same level of excitement as I had before, but it's completely different because I faced down my demons, because I've been punched in the face, because I understand my level of resilience. I know in my own life, when I started my business, things were great. And then I got punched in the face. And then I experienced the enemies. And some of that was stuff on the inside of me. And some of that was stuff on the outside of me that I had no control over. But because I now had gotten kicked in the teeth, but I was able to recover and get resilient and figure out the things that I need to figure out so that I could be sustainable. Guess what? Now I'm educated. I mean, I'm educated. I'll tell you, you can throw stuff at me and I'm going to be just fine. Why? Because I'm pulling on the strength of the victory that I just overcame yesterday. I don't have to worry if I can make it through today because I know what I got through yesterday. And the strength of that education, that real world education is critical. Listen to me, entrepreneur. If you're in a tough place right now, if you're feeling a little discouraged, if you're feeling a little tired, you are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly where you need to be. All you got to do is just push a little harder. All you got to do is capture the randomness up here and the randomness sometimes down here and force it into the direction of your life. Enforce your will so that your will aligns with the vision and the dream that you have. I'll tell you what, that is an education. That is so much more than just that almost naive excitement that we started with. And then you move to the sixth and the final phase of your dream, and that's where you move into enjoyment. Now you really enjoy what you do every day. You know what? I'm almost tired of people who say, you just got to find what you love and then do that with all your heart. It's just so lame. Do you know what I mean? Because I love what I do, but I had to fight hard to get to where I am. Does that make sense? In other words, it's not like every day it's tulips and sunshine and rainbows and we're tickling each other behind the ears and everything is good. You got to fight for victories. You got to fight for your dream. You got to fight for your future. But I'll tell you, when you have that, what it brings you is a level of enjoyment. And that's a level of enjoyment that no one can take from you. And that is a transferable skill set that you can take from one business to another, that you can take from business to relationships, that you can take from relationships to your physical health. You can take from your physical health to how you parent your kids. You can take from how you parent your kids to how it is you engage with the people who are most important to you, because now what you have is a robust toolkit. Here's a question. What if the fight that you are experiencing right now is actually about your focus? What if the dilemma that you're facing right now is about getting you distracted from your dream? What if the adversity that you're experiencing is about wrecking the thing that you're aiming for? What if that fight was about your future? And I'll tell you, that's the way I think about it. You know, when I'm going through difficult times as I'm seeking to pursue my dream, I remind myself that it's almost like all the forces of evil will array themselves against someone who decides that they want to make a difference in the world. Tell you what, why? Because the world wants you to stay the same. It wants you to stay comfortable. And so you know what? Get back to dreaming. And wherever you are in these 6 phases, celebrate it. Honor it, acknowledge it. If you're in that place right now where you're like dealing with the enemies, it's all good, man. It's all good, lady. You are going to get through it. And if you're in that place where now you're like, wow, I'm executing, I'm learning processes, I'm learning systems, I'm learning discipline, I'm learning daily routines, I'm learning habits, I'm learning to get out of my head and focus on the things that I need to focus on. Listen, you're not alone. We've got your back. And so I hope that this encourages you wherever you're at in your dream. Recognize your dream is worth fighting for. The world needs what you've got. And so, hey, if we can help you in any way, please do reach out. Go check out failuretoflourishing.com. No one's going to hit you up for cash. All we want to do is give you a free online course that's going to elevate your business and scale your thinking and help you move if you have areas of your life that you want to move from failure to flourishing. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope we'll see you again soon. Please subscribe and feel free to share this video to people that you love and people that you don't love so that they can get the benefit of it too. Thanks, everybody.